Hi guys, I thought my ride was coming, so I will give you a little information about how the experience I went through at Harlem Hospital, how that went. So, they rushed me into the emergency room. I heard this announcement on the loudspeaker saying, "We need the stroke support team to the ER." They were putting electrodes on my heart. The doctor had his fingers in my neck trying to bring down my pressure. And I was like, what's going on? I was saying to my daughter, like wording with my mouth, what's happening? And I remember the nurse said the patient to the security guard that was in the room at the same time, the patient wants you to tell her daughter what is happening. So at that moment, the security guard stepped in and said to my daughter, your mother is having a stroke. Now, let me tell you, high blood pressure, having a stroke is a silent killer, meaning you feel no sensation. The only thing you feel is a headache, and you feel sort of like out of it. That's why they ask you what the date is and who is the president, and they ask you to act like you're driving a car to see what side is slowly becoming weak. But I told them that I felt that strange sensation on the left and my right was becoming weak. And they were trying to give me medication so I can, a clot buster, but if you don't take the medication within 3 hours of your stroke, you can have a brain hemorrhage and die. So of course, I was not willing to take that chance. I put my faith in the one, and I didn't know what time I had my stroke because I had a stroke in my sleep. So I don't know if it was 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All I know is I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning thinking I was going to work. So I was not willing to take that chance, so I did not take the clot buster. I did take a lot of other blood pressure medications, and they were scheduling me for an MRI, and the next day they were going to take a picture of my heart. So the MRI was basically standard. You guys know you got to stay straight, and they wheel you in this, I call it a coffin, and you hear this loud banging sound, and they're taking pictures of your brain. Then the next day they had to give me medications, a sedative to calm me down because I was nervous about a tube going down my throat, which is actually a camera that takes a picture of your heart. So all I remember is counting backwards and I was out. I don't even remember what happened. I do remember waking up and they were like pulling the camera out of my throat, out of my mouth. And 2 hours later, the African doctor came running in my room. I was upstairs, I believe, on the 14th or the 13th floor of Harlem Hospital. And he came running in my room and he was like, "Miss Fickling, you have a very strong heart." Like, within like a day or 2 days, they were transferring me downstairs to the third floor, which was the rehab floor, and they had assigned me a team. So I had a neurologist, I had a speech pathologist, I had a therapist, I had an occupational therapist, I had a doctor, and like 6 nurses. And I'm telling you, I could not stand their, their attack of having me start rehab on day number 3 of a stroke. But that's the best thing that they could have ever done for me, because that rehab helped me tremendously. Now, let me tell you, I hated the therapists. I couldn't stand them. But I'm telling you, after 3 weeks of me leaving that place, those people were getting things, back to moving. So I was very thankful. So basically, I walked in the hospital and left Harlem Hospital in a wheelchair. I also experienced while I was in Harlem Hospital, I was temporarily paralyzed from the neck down. And only because of my will and my determination is why I got, over that, because I had to go to the bathroom one day and I was pressing that button that's next to your bed, and the nurses took too long. So I jumped out of my bed, and by the time I realized that I was in the bathroom, I was sitting in the bathroom with my legs open, personal items hanging all out, but I was crying hysterically because I realized at that moment I was walking. So I was on the road to coming back, thank God. So I will definitely come back later on tonight and I will tell you what got me through all of this. But I will give you a hint. It takes a lot of faith and determination, because when I saw my daughter's face and realizing that her hero and her hero's wings were being compromised, I couldn't disappoint my daughter, so I was determined to come back. I'll be back later with some more information. But this is I'm going to download these videos on YouTube just so you guys can get to know the face of a stroke survivor, and so you can see how I have come a long way. I mean, my face was like just like this. My lips were like this. My speaking was crazy. I sound like a drunken sailor. But I've been working very hard down here in Fort Pierce, Florida. And I'm not far from my mom in Port St. Lucie. And I feel as if this Florida sun and working out 3 days a week is giving me life. So I'll be back tonight with some more information about New York and what I went through and applying for disability and all that. But it's an interesting story. So this is the face of a stroke survivor. You just have to keep going and be determined, and you can look like this. God bless you.